Hello, beloved. You are so blessed. You know that. You are so blessed. Today is the day the Lord has made. Rejoice. Yes, you can rejoice. This temporary time that we are traveling through, it's limited. It limits us in lots of areas and dimensions. But this is a place where sowing a seed, it's gonna bring a huge harvest. This is a place where you are faithful on, few cities and you get 10 cities. You are faithful to work with couple of talents and you get 2 more. It's an amazing temporary place. That's nothing to waste. There's no minute to waste. I want you to be excited of being alive in a time such as this. So I said that we will talk about Sarah, not just Abraham. And one reason I want to do that, yes, it's in the Word, but one other reason is when somebody is kind of in a shadow of a titan, of a amazing, great pioneer, an Abraham of faith, and here's the wife, it doesn't get the attention. It cannot be even seen there. I read one time about a forest that had huge cedar trees, big, and the person that wrote that, they noticed they were in that forest. The huge cedars, the huge trees, so the beautiful crown, they were so monumental. But what he noticed is that the next to them, like the next generation, they were not as monumental. Couldn't grow that much. They were thinner, couldn't grow that high, and the generation after that, the younger, they were almost dried out. They couldn't grow at all. It's almost like the big giants took all the spotlight, all the light, and probably all the water from the ground, because they have to be so huge, great, huge name and known. And there was very little left for the next generation, and the third generation was like nothing. Interesting. So that's one reason I want to talk about Sarah, because I do believe Abraham was an absolute giant cedar and a huge tree, but I think he was as huge because of her also. I think they're both. Galatians 4, when he talks about Sarah compared to Hagar, it says these are 2 covenants, and Sarah is compared by the Holy Spirit with the New Jerusalem, which is our mother. Makes us free. I mean, it's like, wow, this is not like that woman that laughed and doubted. She had a definite place right next to Abraham. Right there. She was the mother of Isaac. So listen what it says in Hebrews 11. By faith, Sarah herself also received strength to conceive seed. It's not just about Abraham's faith. Sarah had faith to conceive that seed. And she bore a child when she was past the age. And there's no way she could have conceived that seed. There was absolutely no way, biologically, scientifically, humanly, impossible. But faith, she had a relationship with faith. Here's what he says here. This is about Sarah. Because she judged him, the Lord, faithful, who had promised. Wow. Therefore, from one man, and him as good as dead, were born as many as the stars of the sky in multitude, innumerable as the sand which is by the seashore. From one man as good as dead. Wow. So I do believe Abraham was talking to Sarah, everything. All his encounters, what the Lord said, how he did. Because she knew about the promise. And I am sure that she believed that promise. It says she judged him faithful, who had promised. No, this is it. I'm sure that that's how Abraham made it through those years. Because every time would go there, so don't you see how old you are? Don't you see? It's like, I don't know what's going to happen. So I can see him late in the evening looking at the stars next to Sarah, laying down, looking at the stars. She was right next to him. I can see him saying, I know you probably think I'm crazy, but I believe our God. And Sarah answering, I trust your God, our God. I have no idea why he is waiting for so long, but if he said that, he will do it. Somehow, somewhere, he will do it. Do you see that conversation? Just close your eyes, just imagine. Here's Abraham. They're chatting right there on the beautiful sky full of stars. It's like, wow, do you see the star? Do you think that's our first son? And all those are his kids. That's how our seeds will be. So I think she made it for a while, until after several years, she was getting old, and Abraham, then she suggested Hagar. I think she suggested Hagar because she was thinking, still God is faithful. He said something, but maybe I misunderstood. Maybe it's not from me. And in that culture, okay, if a free woman had a servant, a slave, and the slave would give birth, then that baby was adopted. It could have been adopted by the free woman. So the man had somehow, through that slave, had the baby for himself, even if it was not directly from Sarah. So it was some kind of a cultural understanding, and she was okay with that. But you know what? Ishmael was not it. And she knew it. You know, I believe our wives, I'm talking to the men that are listening, our wives are intuitively the best. Even if they waver sometimes in what and seeing the solution, how is that gonna be? Don't you see? It doesn't make sense, right? But the intuition that Sarah had was amazing. Yes, she suggested Hagar, but she knew at one point he's not it. No, she knew that. You know, Abraham was kind of accepting, and so God comes to him and he says, yeah, you know, long live Ishmael. This is it. Thank you. You fulfilled your word, Lord. Here is Ishmael. And knew it's not. And later on, Sarah, she's casting out Hagar and Ishmael. And the Lord said, no, do what Sarah wants, because it's only Isaac. So there's this special intuition relationship with faith that Sarah had. Okay? That word, she received strength to conceive. That word strength, it's referring to an ability, supernatural power to get it. You know, as much as Abraham believed, she had to have that supernatural power, and that came through a relationship with faith. Yeah, Abraham didn't have a faith for her. She had a personal relationship with faith, even if her body was impossible to conceive. She received this supernatural strength. And this is what puts her definitely on the heroes list. Yeah. The relationship, that intuition, knowing something beyond that, considering the Lord faithful that made that promise. And I love this in Hebrews 11 when it talks about all these heroes. Just listen to this. These all died in faith, not having received the promises. That relationship with faith kept them alive, though. Not having received the promises, but having seen them afar off, were assured of them, embraced them, and confessed that they were strangers and pilgrims on this earth. For those who say such things declare plainly that they seek a homeland. And truly, if they had called to mind that country from which they had come out, they would have had opportunity to return. But now they desire a better, that is, a heavenly country. And I love this phrase. It's gold. Therefore, because they saw beyond what was immediate, they saw desire, and faith got them a substance that's spiritual dimensions beyond what they can touch. Therefore, God is not ashamed to be called their God, for He has prepared a city for them. Hello, you hero of faith. Maybe you kind of gave up on your dream, kind of pushed it away. You said, well, let others do that, more famous. Let the big cedar tree that took half of the forest, let him do it, let her do it. That's so many people there. What can I do? You have the dream. And wherever you go, you make a way where it seems to be no way, and others will follow that road. Why do you slow down? Why do you look back? Keep going. Yes, keep going.